It's time for Cup of Red, so let's fill your cup with rad pop culture vibes. And now your over-caffeinated hosts, Mike and Katie. Star Wars. We're talking about Star Wars. We're talking about Star Wars on today's podcast. That's right, it's Mike from Cup of Rad with
Katie, as always.
And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be diving into George Lucas's original Star Wars trilogy.
Hooray! I had to add something there. It just felt like it needed a little extra bit of oomph.
No standard sound effects from the sound effects board. It all comes from our mouths into your ears. And
yeah, it's gonna get we're a little weird. We're drinking tea in our cups of rad. It's like a cinnamon tea.
Yeah, like you melted down some of those cinnamon hearts.
Yes, it's fantastic.
It's good for the cold.
Yeah. So on our journey to getting to watch the new final episode of Star Wars, we've been watching all of the episode movies.
Yeah.
So this time around, we've watched the prequels in September, and now we are watching the original trilogy.
That's right. We sat down and we decided to watch the original trilogy.
I don't think I've ever watched them so quickly back to back. It was kind of fun, to be able to just see it all as just like one big movie, which was enjoyable. So
yeah, very much. We decided to, because we cracked open the Disney Plus streaming service, and we decided to watch the episodes throughout.
Yeah, because we only have DVD, and I know you've been, you were super excited, the idea of being able to watch them in HD, because why not? So
yeah.
So it was good. How did that go?
Well, New Hope played fine.
Yes. And then Empire.
Empire, kind of like one of those like old like British comedies where things would speed up.
It was hilarious. Honestly, I assume if you haven't watched any Disney Plus, you would have at one point had it freeze for a moment on you and slow down and lag. But the sound will keep going, and then the video it'll restart itself back to where it froze. And then it was trying to speed up and to catch up, and it was having just a fun time restarting everything. And then it was like a comedy with it running through things.
And then with Jedi, it crashed completely, and we had to restart it. And it wouldn't happen, so we had to break out the disc to finish off Jedi.
Thank goodness we had it, though. I mean, there is the problem versus streaming and only having that as your very only source. Yeah. And then we were lucky enough to be able to just go back and finish it up on disc there. And pros and cons as they figure out the bugs of things, which I'm sure they are scrambling to figure out how to make that not happen.
Yeah. Yeah, they've had enough issues because they were not expecting, I think, as many people subscribing to it. Yeah. So
and it's only going to get worse if they don't fix things. So
right, the more they hit them with those months, with new subscribers throughout the months. But we're not here to talk about Disney Plus. We can talk more about it next week. That'll be more interesting. Yeah. So, but this is all about Star Wars, George Lucas's sci-fi opera.
Well, it changed the world of fandom and sci-fi movies and everything like that.
And how we buy things.
And as we learned from Toys That Made Us years ago, we learned that it changed toys as well.
Exactly.
So it was a revolutionary movie trilogy.
Mm-hmm. So what was the original episode 1, but then became episode 4?
Yes.
A New Hope. As it aged, it got more names.
Yeah.
Star Wars Episode 4, New Hope, originally just Star Wars. The story of a young boy on a planet that he doesn't want to be.
Always looking away,
wanting to be part of a bigger rebellion.
Well, that's just a common story, right?
And
there.
then
it's nice and simple.
He gets thrown into the mix and becomes the hero of the day.
Yes.
That is basically the story.
Yes.
So there you go. You've had it.
And yay, we're done.
We're done. That's New Hope. So what are your first, your memories of A New Hope? Let's go with memories of New Hope, and then we'll go on how we experience it now again.
You know what? It's weird is I don't remember a world in which I did not know of the movie. I mean, and that goes to speak that
when I was in my egg, it was piped into my brain.
You know what?
Through science fiction.
They are words I would like to say right now, but we are trying to keep this all
Take the
friendly.
red pill or the blue pill. Were you part of the Matrix?
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember the first time I ever saw it. My family has always been Star Wars fans, especially my aunt and my cousins. They are big Star Wars fans, even more so than my parents. I remember hearing the story of my mom and my mom tells the story of my sister and my dad going to go see Star Wars when it first came out, and she's told me that story how many times on how she it wasn't New Hope because it had to have been later, so that one sticks in my head because she was pregnant, I think, with one of us and then she couldn't go and see it. So it's so funny because that I remember that, right? But I don't remember when I first actually saw it. I just remember that it was always there, and I've always been more of a Star Wars fan. You have the conflicts of the which science fiction world do you enjoy more, and to me it's always been Star Wars because that's just what I've always known. So
interesting.
That's I don't have some big revelation.
So New Hope, who with that story, who is your
who do I go
jam
to for that?
Who's your character? Who's your
you know what? It's interesting. I know maybe it sounds cliche, but I liked Princess Leia only because she was it was a different strong female, but at the same time it's a conflict for me because she can be so strong-headed and she's kind of obnoxious too in times, right? Honestly, I enjoyed how they all bounced off of each other a little bit with that, but I would go with Leia. She was interesting. It was a different style of character than I was used to because really it was Disney princesses or that. So, she was a little bit stronger. So what about you?
As a character-wise, I always liked Han.
Yeah.
Just that smuggler pirate attitude.
Not surprised at all, and neither should you be.
So it's the smolder. Well, dude hung out with a giant Wookiee, like a giant ape.
He's
thing.
awesome.
Like just that alone, he makes him cooler than Luke. Just for that one fact of like, dude's hanging out with a primate.
He's
right, and they're gallivanting across the galaxy doing crazy stuff. And, just...
Oh, are you kidding me? I mean, I love when Solo came out. I was so excited to be able to learn more about his backstory and it just made me love the character even more. I've always really liked him for sure.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was always my kind of jam with it. When it came to seeing the trilogy, I remember seeing it when I was sick with like chicken pox or something.
Oh, okay.
And it was way back in the days of VHS.
Well, yeah. I remember owning the VHS.
I never saw those in theaters, so it was only VHS for me.
Yeah.
I did see them in theaters when they came back as special editions.
Yes.
But
I did too. I remember that.
But besides that, yeah, so I remember watching those on VHS, and I was, it must have been part of that like chickenpox fever dream that you have, and I was like, this is amazing. So I don't know if I tripped balls more than anything when I watched it the first time back in the day, and that's why I loved it so much because it like spoke to my,
I know you're sick, but kids love binging on movie days, so of course, why not, right?
Right. So I remember watching them quite a few times when we got them. So I did watch them as in a span of a week multiple times.
Yeah.
So.
It's interesting for me. I mean, you like the idea of the big grand dreams and wanting to be part of something almost. And so I think there's that bit of a Luke in you, but you're definitely more of the loner of the I can do it myself.
Of course.
So you're totally
I'll swoop in, save the day, then walk away.
To a T. So it's really interesting to see. I think they did a really good job of creating those dynamics that work together really well for that. So
yeah. So now going forward and watching it now, we've watched it before with Kiddo, but he couldn't remember them at all.
Yeah.
So we go ahead and we were watching them on Disney Plus. And the nice thing was, if you haven't watched it on high definition, you do see a lot more than you remember. Mm-hmm. And some of the detail is pretty awesome, especially when it comes to the lovely scene on Tatooine when Luke goes back to his house and finds his dead aunt and uncle.
That was so harsh.
VHS and all that kind of stuff, it's muddled. You see the skeletons, you're like, oh yeah, they're dead. But it was actually pretty impressive to see how detailed it was.
Bloody skin burning onto them. Like, it was intense.
They get us in there going, oh, wow.
Those are burning skeletons. Yeah. Well, even Darth Vader's face, too. His mask was a lot more scratched up. It wasn't as pretty and shiny and clean.
Yeah. It wasn't as muddy.
It was this was never meant to be seen so close up.
Right? So what are your thoughts now watching it now, after all these years?
You know what's interesting? It's nothing... I think for New Hope, it hasn't really changed too much, other than, Luke's gotten a little whinier over the years, where you're like, oh wow, you're still such a little kid.
Yeah.
And that's for me as I get older, and of course that character then gets younger now for me, which is a weird concept for things. So you see some more of the harshness of them and how quickly their characters have to evolve and change, even with Han and Leia's relationship, like how brash they can be at each other and everything. Leia definitely seems harsher than she ever was. She becomes less of the strong female and more of the like, wow, you're really blunt and like
the headstrong teenager,
kind of mean, and like and they shows their age, how young they really are, and thrown into something that they're just trying to work their way around through, and it's interesting to see that shift for age wise for them.
Yeah.
So what about you?
It was one of those things where we've watched them so many times, you can almost Mystery Science Theater that thing.
Oh, totally.
And it's not out of like not liking the film, because I still love the films. I don't get the same guttural reaction as I do when I watch, say, the prequels. The prequels, I just like love mocking.
Oh yeah, it gives extreme satisfaction.
And it's out of a place of love, I think, at the same time. But I noticed myself picking on the film a little bit more this time.
Yep.
Especially after having just recently watched the prequels.
Yeah.
And then being like, hey, this doesn't add up. What you're saying here doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you're like, really?
Right. Like,
what about this?
It gave me that feeling of like, hey, George, did you even go back and watch your old movies before you wrote?
You know what? Honestly, I think with all his edits, I think his head has something completely different in what actually happened. So
what he wanted to happen.
Yeah, so I don't know what version he wrote the prequels based on.
Yeah.
The one that hasn't actually seen the light of day and never will, or like, let's watch this and be like, oh yeah, we're gonna fact check these details to make sure we have continuity.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Yeah, those few moments where I love. It's like those memes too of like when Obi-Wan is like, "Oh, your father wanted you to have this," and it's like, is he lying there dying on the beach?
Yeah, right.
Screaming,
You're like,
give
sure,
this to my son.
By the way,
right?
Well, and then even like 3PO, like he doesn't. I know he's had his mind wiped, and apparently he had to have, because he's like completely
oblivious to
what's going on.
Okay, go back to Obi-Wan. How senile has he got to be like? Droids? I've never owned droids in my life. You didn't own the droids, but you know should them. Recognize them.
Well,
he literally calls them by the same name.
What's the point of him lying about it?
In that moment.
Yes, exactly.
It's not like they're passing on the street.
They're like, I don't know.
Like, I don't know what those droids are about.
But, they specifically came saying they were property of his and they're looking for him. So what is, obviously we're going down that path with him now. Yeah. Now we're moving, and you're starting to talk about Darth Vader and Anakin, all this stuff. Like, your whole background history is showing up. You're totally okay saying, oh, by the way, I'm, the Jedi that they're looking for. But no, I don't know these droids.
Right.
What?
See, those it
doesn't make sense.
With watching them so closely, those are the errors that stuck out to me a little bit. But I will admit that I am excited to see what they do when they bring out the Obi-Wan series.
Oh, totally.
And I totally want every episode to just start with Hugh McGregor going, hello there.
Yes.
I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi, and these are my adventures. I'd be so there if that happened. 8 episodes.
The journals.
The journals of Obi-Wan. But every episode needs to just start. Even if it's a blank screen, just be like, hello there. I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi. I don't know why. It just would be amazing. Or if you just, how he always just popped up and always happy.
Yeah.
Hello there. Off goes the cloak. Hello there.
It's like Mr. Rogers or something.
But awesome. just that complete Jedi, funny. Just,
Okay, now
he's going to have to get hit in the head or something to tie up the loose ends of why he doesn't remember things. Like, literally the last episode of that series is going to be like a giant conk on the head.
You know what's funny too is, like, I understand the idea of off living in isolation and the world is falling apart from him and everything like that. But Luke is what, 17, 18, something like that? Is he older than that?
No, I don't think he's supposed to be.
That's not that many years to go completely crazy, considering he still lives in a place of population, opposed to Yoda, who lives on a swamp.
Right.
Obi-Wan still would have had some sort of interaction with with the creatures.
No, he only with the Tusken Raiders, and he was always just like,
and there's just that.
Hello there. I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you are Tusken Raiders. We must get along, or I'll make a really strange sound.
I know you want to play Obi-Wan as the Tusken Raider,
ghosty thing that
Ghost
scares
guy.
him.
Yeah.
I think that would be a great Halloween costume. People don't do that, Obi-Wan. They don't play his weird like elephant man cloak thing strolling around.
One thing that wasn't fun too is pointing out to Kiddo as we watched all the different things, all the different special edition edits. When they get into the city, pointing out all the animals that weren't there before and all the things that it's like, really, why?
Yeah.
Why did we need this?
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, you look at that. Okay, yeah, that looks different than everything else around it. It must be new.
Yeah, I really hope that they're able to figure out how to bring back the original trilogy, the unspecialized edition.
Yes.
Only just for the nostalgia to see it. I think it's one of those ones where it'd be cool to see it, to see if those enhancements actually did make it better, and we just have a false sense of remembering it was better.
Yeah.
Or if we watch it again and be like, oh, okay, yeah, I can see why they did that.
Yeah.
Right. It would be interesting to see that. And
but
hopefully
we won't get to have, then there's some of those scenes there, like with Han talking to Jabba outside the Millennium Falcon.
okay, well, that was unnecessary. And
It
weird.
It was totally unnecessary. I mean, it would have been fine if he hadn't walked behind him. But
Clunk, 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 clunk.
it's so bad.
But on a happy note, what is one of your favorite scenes from A New Hope?
Interesting. I don't know why I'm deer in the headlines of it. One of my favorite scenes. I don't know. Oh no. I don't know. What about you?
Honestly, it comes down to the battle with Obi-Wan and Vader.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's slow and methodical, but it's like a little samurai battle feel, and it's just very, very. I like it. Right?
You know what? I do like the battle when they blow up the Death Star. The intensity of that. I also love how fun it is to Mystery Science Theater. That whole scene.
No, you don't Mr. Science say that. You just say that's what she said after every time someone talks.
Everything. So it is.
Red leader, it just skimmed the surface. That's what she said.
Because it's a good scene and it's like super intense, and then like when you bring Vader in there too, and
Gold 5, we're going in. That's what she said.
And then you get to do that, and it's just the best of everything.
There's your challenge for the next weekend. Watch A New Hope. When you get to that Death Star battle in the final,
thing.
just drop a "that's what she said" after every single person that talks.
Yep.
I have you now. That's what she said.
Yep.
Did it go in? Negative. It was a hit and a miss. That's what she said.
Yep.
So,
Yep, that's what it is. So right there. Yeah. It's the best part of the movie.
and that's when you know you've watched something so many times.
When you can just do that to it and still really enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good stuff.
So that's what we're doing. We're talking about Star Wars. Star Wars. We're talking about Star Wars. Star Wars. We're talking about Star Wars. We're doing Empire Strikes Back.
Dun, dun, dun,
Star
dun.
Wars. So after we watched A New Hope, we went on to The Empire Strikes Back.
Yes.
So Empire Strikes Back, the rebels have blown up the Death Star, and they're running away because the Empire's like, damn you kids! And they're chasing them. They find a base on a snowy planet, and they get attacked by Wampas. Deleted scenes on Disney Plus, yo.
You need to check out those deleted scenes. Fantastic.
And
In the most sarcastic way said possible.
no, they were pretty awesome.
Uh-huh. Oh God, go see them. Now. We'll pause. We'll be here. Go check out the scenes.
And then they,
I hope you've looked at the scenes yet.
Then Luke goes off and I was all like, hey, mystical voice in my head told me to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And meets a crazy old man. And
He doesn't know that he's a crazy old man. He's a great warrior.
So then
He's looking for a great warrior, which is amazing because I'm just going to interject here. This is my favorite scene. Yeah. I think it's funny how crazy Yoda has become. He has completely lost his mind. And I don't know if it's the isolation or just everything that went down and went so badly and the burden that he had, like his mind fractured.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest, humanity, we do that. When something tragic has happened, our brains fracture. He likely did the same thing.
It is dangerous. It hurts everyone around you. And if you need help, get counseling. Mike's BSA.
Yep. But in all honesty, true. Very true. But then I noticed how much with watching the prequels so soon, recently, that how much Anakin and Luke are very similar. You really see that Luke is his father's son.
Yeah.
And you see the impatience and the, I asked for it, so why are you not doing it for me?
Yeah.
And, this is what I'm looking for, and why aren't you giving me this? And I can do this. And the whininess because it just didn't come easily to them, and the lack of trying.
Helplessness.
Yes. Oh, there we go. So it was really interesting to see some of those behaviors where, knowing now where the next trilogy has gone, where you're not really surprised that he was kind of skirting those edges of the light and the dark, right?
Yeah.
Because the conflict of his background and then the age of which he learned how to deal with the Force, and then the lack of mentorship as well, right? And so it was really interesting to see that laid out there. But in the meantime, of course, it was hilarious to watch Yoda.
I have one big question, though, between watching the two and everything. So, prequel trilogy, Anakin's like 8 or 9, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. And Yoda's like, oh, he's too old,
Yes.
right? And then now Luke's like 20 or something like that. And he's like, oh, you're too old, too. You're too old. It's like, when is the right age? Like, is it the creepy, like what the Empire does and steals kids to be part of the stormtroopers?
When they can't even say no.
Like, yeah. Like, it's like this doctrine right from like the get-go. Like, and that's,
well, Yoda didn't try too hard. He's too old, but okay, sure, whatever.
Okay. Sure. You tried my stew.
The Force Ghost told me. Obi-Wan knows better, because, it turned out so well the last time I listened to him tell me that it was okay to train someone. I'm going to do that
Last time I
again.
trained a Skywalker, it hit the fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Let's go down this path again and just see what happens. Maybe it'll be better the second time around. So,
fool me once, shame on me. Fool you twice. Yeah, no. Well, I remember watching it, and I remember, back in the day, the biggest thing that did stick out, even for like the two scenes, was of course Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Right? You're always like, yeah, Boba Fett, and it really is just a chase movie at the heart of it, right?
Oh yeah.
And it's amazing how little time actually goes by in that movie.
I was devastated when Lando betrayed them. I remember being like, what the? He was supposed to be their friend. And then you watch it again and you're like, yeah, I totally understand it. What else was he going to do?
There's the difference. As a child, you watch it, you were like, I hate you, man. You suck. And now as an adult, you're like, dude's got to do what a dude's got to do to survive.
Right?
Sometimes you just got to do those things you don't like because, it is what it is. And I get it.
Right?
Here's Hound's clothes, right? And figure it out.
Yeah, he tried to make up for it, So, I understand. He was just looking out for the greater good, so...
No, I understand completely. It makes sense. Like, as you watch it, you're like, oh, that's a real dick move, dude.
Right.
But yeah, you can totally understand that.
And then too, you watch this and you're like, Yoda is seriously telling Luke, like, no, this is a trap. They are trying to literally lure you there. Like, don't listen to this. Finish what you're learning. No, I have to go. Because because we've seen the future and needed to act on those, because that has turned out well in the past too. Who does that remind you of?
Right.
So yeah. Wow, I can feel myself getting a little agitated with that.
There's another question though that got laid out in this moment though. So prequel trilogy shows that you have to be like 6 months old till you're like 40 before you become a Jedi Master.
Correct.
Right?
Yes, correct.
So that's that, do the math, right? That's a lot of years.
I thought of the same question as well.
And in Empire Strikes Back, it's like Yoda's weekend Jedi training. It's like, come on down to the swamp. We're going to teach you everything from swinging on vines, flipping over things, and lifting rocks.
But
by the end of it, you two will be a certified Jedi at the school of Yoda Swamp Jedi Academy.
Oh, don't forget, you have to go into a cave. You have to find out your fear, and then you have to go and face that fear, and then you're a Jedi. All you got to do is just face your fear. I was so mad with that.
What if someone's fear is like
you have one thing left, and then you're a Jedi. I'm like, what? Seriously? They went from, I know that there's no like tribunal in these rules, but seriously, he threw the rules so far out the window, they don't even exist anymore.
Mm-hmm. And then you look and see like that's why it all failed for them, was because some people followed the rules too close to a T, and other people are like, sure,
whatever.
Rules, they're more like guidelines. It's okay.
Right?
But with that, though, what is a favorite character from that movie? Like, are you still on Leia's train, or is it Yoda?
You know what? I love Yoda, but I know my love for Yoda comes more honestly from the prequels. I really love like young like warrior actual Yoda. Which was interesting. One thing too, by the way, warrior wise, I don't remember Obi-Wan ever telling him he needed to go find a warrior. Am I correct or incorrect? I just thought he just had to go find a Jedi Master Yoda. And Luke shows up and he's like, no, I'm looking for a warrior. I'm like, when was he ever described as a warrior?
Because that's what he wanted.
And I know that he was a warrior because in Clone Wars and everything.
They were in the war.
Okay. I thought I'd ask.
And they needed to find out a warrior.
Honestly,
only giant muscles and lighty glow sticks can save the galaxy.
I really liked Han in this one, I think. Yeah. Even more so.
I know.
We have pillowcases of we have pillowcases.
Yeah, we got pillowcases. We got a few
of Leia and Han.
Where's this going?
That have the I love you and I know. And it's adorable because we're adorable.
Aren't we adorable? Ding.
But no, I really liked, I think I liked Han, especially when the movie first started. He was very much like involved, and the switch of reluctantly involved, but he really started showing that he cared. And I really enjoyed that. And, he really was trying to be the good guy by all means. And he totally was trying to trust people, and he didn't work out well for him.
No, he finally was that like really opening sad. Up of being like, hey,
he's like, oh no.
Yeah.
But what about you? Still
yeah, it's still that, it's his story is most interesting on there because his actually has the most development that doesn't feel rushed. Luke's is very rushed in the story.
Yeah.
Which at the same time is seeing it now. That's what I'm seeing, and seeing more of feels like it's just like bam, 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 bam.
Well, because Luke, he made such a change between A New Hope and Return of the Jedi, and Han's just really very similar. Like there's minor changes, but Luke transformed his essential being, and it shows then how rushed it was.
Yeah. Besides that, I do like all the scenes on Dagobah as much as I make fun of them. It's just fun to see because it's something a little different from what we've seen, and the different take of the scenery and another part of the galaxy and all that, and then the no scene. No.
Yeah, realizing that his trademark scene is no.
Yeah. He says no. He screams no when Ben dies. Yeah. No. He screams no when he gets his hand cut off and finds out that Luke, I am your father. Right. And then
which is the best facial acting ever. I mean, like that scene is historic. With how like horrible looking it really is, and it's not like necessarily bad acting, but it's just like his face is just so contorted,
right? And then he screams no in Return too. At the end there when with the Emperor. Yeah. So I thought that was because I got a bad feeling about this, but I never realized before that no is screamed.
The first time I got a bad feeling about this was actually Obi-Wan that said it, and Kiddo was like, whoa, why didn't Han say that? Like he was very upset. I'm like, dude, it's okay. And when he said it, he was like, oh, okay, we're all good now. I thought that was Han's line. We're all good now. He was very upset.
Yeah, it's interesting too because Kiddo's take on them. He's like, they're good movies. I like them. That's about all he's really said.
Right.
So
well, he has a much more of a connection to the new trilogy because that's the new thing for him, right?
It's the bright and shiny.
Yeah.
So any other thoughts on Empire?
Well, you know what I was thinking too is as we move through now, two of them is for a while there, Darth Vader had been a little bit more like after watching Rebels where he was just so BA in Rebels and watching Rogue this One. And I'm like, and in Rogue One and everything, I'm like, well, this is kind of like, wow, he's just so standoffish and kind of irritating. I actually didn't have that feeling this time around. It was a little bit more of like he's kind of scary because when you see how many people he force chokes.
He chokes it.
In such a short amount of time, you're like, wow, I do not want to be the head in command. That is a promotion you do not want. And I know he literally just force chokes because Kiddo was like, really? That's all he's doing? Like, yeah, I get that. That's all he's doing.
Well, yeah, when you see him in Rebels or even Rogue One, and he's like throwing his lightsaber, he's doing all this crazy stuff.
Right, so I miss that he didn't use his lightsaber more, but then you understand when it's called making a movie and then there's effects based on that opposed to like someone acting they're being choked, right? Yeah. So,
but it's just funny to think about. It's just like it is like Boba Fett though. Everything was just shrouded in mystery when it came out, and it created this aura of amazeballs in it because it just looked awesome.
Yeah. And he is domineering.
But then when you actually like break down what he actually does in the movie, you realize he doesn't do a whole lot, even in the New Hope, right?
Yeah.
It's like...
Well, and he's constantly being mocked by the commanders.
Yeah.
You know, Tarkin was just like, well, you know, it's your old religion and no one cares and whatever. I'm just having to like, I have to just appease you because the Emperor told... Yeah. He's not really, like he's feared a bit, but not a lot, really, right?
Yeah.
So it's an interesting take.
So that parallel, because especially when you go into the new trilogy, you see that they did mirror that, right?
Yeah, because Kylo is not. No one really cares about Kylo. It's not like he has a rank of true importance or fear, right?
Exactly.
So opposed to in the original one where there was a fear of there was arrogance on the Jedi side, but there was an actual true more respect of the dark side aspect for things, right? And yeah, it was an interesting change on that. So any other thoughts on yours for Empire?
Star Wars. We're talking about Star Wars. Star Wars. We're talking about Star Wars. Return of the Jedi on Star Wars Day episode of Cup of Bread. So Return of the Jedi. They go off. They go to find Han because he's been taken by the bounty hunter.
Which is like super scary, by the way, that the carbonite was not actually a process that was being used.
Yeah,
it was just tested on him. Oh, and I would love to know where these magical controls from the carbonite
all this just showed up in the side.
Like there was no like form that he got into. It was like literally get into this pit and we're gonna do this for you. And it's like
comes out as a perfect rectangle.
Yeah, it's magical. It really is.
Because Star Wars is a perfect balance between science and magic.
It is. You're right. I know. Return of the Jedi is my favorite of the original trilogies. Mainly because I love, you know, I know that it's ridiculous as we've discussed now how quickly Luke becomes a Jedi in his world of I'm a Jedi now because he just deems himself Jedi Master. But
he handprinted that certificate. It is on his X-Wing wall.
I know, right?
I am a Jedi
Master.
Night Master.
But I love
the night.
Will you stop it? Let me talk. We are all over the place. I really like the scene with him and the confidence level of him as a Jedi. And it's interesting though because I've always enjoyed how the movie starts. Like I love the whole scene with Jabba and everything that transpires, and it kind of looks like it's all part of a plan. But then what we have noticed this time around of watching with him more like Anakin. And it's a plan, and I can literally hear...
It's a part of a plan.
Right? Yeah. I can hear Obi-Wan and Anakin talking and complaining at each other through this of how would Anakin respond? Sure, this is a plan. It'll all work itself out, Master. You know, everything's great. And of course I have it under control. And I was like, holy moly. Like, he is so much like his father with this. And, you know, the confidence and the arrogance and I've got everything under control. Like, seriously, all you did to put it under control was put a lightsaber in an R2 unit. How did you know it was all going to go to plan, really? And, that was...
I've spoken.
That will never not be funny now.
No, I understand exactly. Like, you know what?
I still really love it, though.
Return of the Jedi is my favorite, only because it goes...
Ewoks.
And we're not at the Ewoks yet. We can't talk about Ewoks yet.
Retracted.
Thank you. Just from beginning to end, from when, you know, there's so many scenes in the film, but it seems to move a lot quicker for me versus the other ones that seem a little slower. I like when they go to different places. Yeah. With, like, say, Empire, you had, like, one place. You had a couple places.
There was actually a lot that happened in Empire, but not at the same time. Right?
Yeah. I just like the different scenes. I think having Hoth and Cloud City, both the white, maybe that's what killed it for me. But this year, having like Tatooine and Andor and on the ships and all that, there was like just felt in Dagobah, and like you got more to it. I always thought that was interesting, right? Yeah. And then Ewoks, right? So.
Oh, now just with it. Uh-huh.
But yeah, no, I like that opening because it brings into more of less of the science fiction, but more of the fantasy. Yeah. Almost feel in Return of the Jedi. Yeah. And I absolutely just love at the end of the movie the lighting in the lightsaber battle with Vader. Yes. And the music that's played on that one. If that's something, definitely look that up. Whatever way you listen to music. and find that final lightsaber duel battle and just listen to it because it's just spectacular.
Nice.
And I just like, yeah, the fact it's just so dark and black, but you just see the colors and
the bright lights back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like on the barge, sailor barge, way back at the beginning there, when Han is he's still blind and he's just so clumsy, but it's the comedy because he takes out Boba Fett.
Yeah.
This great assassin and bounty hunter is taken out by a blind man accidentally hitting him in the head with something by turning and
hitting his jetpack with it.
Like, it's hilarious how simple he dies. But
and it's amazing to think of how much popularity Boba Fett and the whole community of Mandalorians became. And even though I know now that they're saying Boba Fett wasn't technically a Mandalorian, he was just a clone.
But
of
at the time when it happened, it still created. Yeah. But regardless, it created the sensation of Mandalorians that we could have cared less about before, right? You know,
you didn't know anything about it, and also which is huge because it's a main purpose of Clone Wars and it's the main purpose of Rebels, and now it's the main purpose of Disney Plus. Yeah. Right. So it's pretty spectacular to see what that created with that. But it is just funny to watch now and realize how popular that became from such a tiny moment. Right.
Well, and then you said how much was actually added in there for special features too. Special edition, right? So you said who was the MVP of the battle actually?
Oh, it's totally Leia.
Yep.
Because there she is. She just chokes Jabba out. She didn't even think about it. She just grabs that chain and she's like, "Die, you slug!"
Well, I mean, okay, this thing is so huge, and she doesn't take like a blaster or something. No, she literally manually uses
chokes him out with a chain.
Like, seriously, there was some intensity there.
That's where you need to like look and be like, "Are you okay?" I know you were, forced to be a slave in a scantily clad outfit and all this kind of stuff with Slug Dude, but maybe we need to have you have a bit of counseling on that because you were way too easy to be like...
There was some trauma there.
You were just like, wait a minute. Chain, throat. We're done.
Yeah, she was taking care of business there.
But yeah, she didn't even like second guess it. The guys outside are like falling off things, screaming for help, and she was like, I got this.
Yep.
Even runs up and is all ready to blow the deck up before Luke gets there. She's just like, even if I die, I'm going down. Everything's getting blown up.
But yeah, I think it was quite an epic scene for sure. So
it's pretty brutal too out of the movie. Like out of all the scenes in the movie, like you see his little tongue and he's and his tongue's flapping, his tail's flipping.
I remember when I remember that, and then it was like, oh my gosh, like that is actually really like graphic, Yeah, he's a bad guy, but still, like, whoa. Yeah, I really enjoy it. I like the scenes, especially when they get back on Endor too, when they get down there and the speeder bike chase. It's just hilarious to think of the probability of surviving that.
You look at it and you see how trees are going past the bike that don't even make sense how it's going past the bike. Right. They're not moving. They're just it's
hilarious to think about that. Like, really, how did they not die sooner?
Yeah.
But it's pretty awesome.
I will admit though that the blinking effects on the Ewoks was a little distracting because not the blinking itself, the blinking was fine, but it was the fact that their eyes looked a little more like glossy and shiny, almost like wet.
Super shiny, yeah.
Right, and that was weird to see when we began to watch it on Disney Plus when it was high definition.
Into your eyes,
right, and then blah blah blah. But I didn't notice it when we went back to our dirty DVD. It was like, oh, I didn't notice their eyes at all.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, it's sad too to see how badly that whole battle went for the rebels.
Oh yeah.
Because the ground assault went wrong. The air assault, they got there and they were just slaughtered. And how bad that information was, it's sad to see how much they risked, and they pointed out how many people died and hoped the information was worth it, and it totally wasn't. Yeah. And it's super impressive they were able to pull that off and make something out of it. Oh.
Yeah. It shows that, at those kind of war times, you can't really trust anybody. You never know what, you gotta triple check your
and you
sources.
And then at some point you just gotta fly at it and see what happens.
And that's when you get good leaders and all that can be able to handle the task at hand.
Well, it's important to say that it worked out well with Han being where he was, right? Because he could think creatively with it. And I still
think it was funny though when they were like, oh, we're gonna send this team down. Totally. This team here is in charge of taking down the whole entire shields,
which our entire plan is based upon.
And he's like, so do you have your team ready? Well, I didn't want to ask anyone because I didn't want to inconvenience anybody, but who's ready to go do this? Right? That's another thing I noticed this time when I watched it. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, it was completely just, so sure, we'll figure this out.
Yeah. I don't want to speak for you, Chewie. Oh, okay, sure. You're on my team now. Woo woo.
Yeah, because Han and Chewie don't do everything together.
Right.
What?
Magically, that was going to cause Chewbacca to skip out on the life.
He's like,
net.
no, I'm out.
Right? He's like, you've gone too far.
Yeah, this was the last straw, man.
But I always loved Ewoks because I always thought they were more like crazy and savage than they were like really depicted.
Yeah, I think it was hilarious that they think 3PO is a god.
Yeah.
I always thought that was awesome.
Right?
Because it makes sense. He's completely different
From
than
everything
anything
they've
else
seen,
they had
right?
seen, right? He's shiny and gold as a metal man. Of course he would be thought of like a god. Like, that was fantastic.
Well.
And I love that Luke makes him float.
Yeah.
Because it's so funny to see 3PO too. He has all this ability to communicate with all of these things, and he's supposed to be so helpful for this. And so he comes across like a little bit of a, smart robot feel, you think, right? But he has zero strategy because as a robot, he can't adapt and be creative. It's my programming. So I can't pretend to be a deity because that's against my programming. It's not told me already, so he can't think of a way out of things. And
But yeah, R2 does what he wants.
Right? So like, what was the programming that R2 was given? Because R2 is anything but following by the rules. He is sneaky and imaginative, and he totally does what he wants to get the job done. And he's manipulative, and like, it's like superhuman of him, honestly. Yeah. So they need to be together for sure. But yeah, what kind of programming made him? Like, we still don't know where R2 came from.
Well, he's just an astromech droid.
Yeah, but like, someone like created his circuits to be able to learn. Yeah. He's like an AI. Yeah. More than anything. He doesn't just follow programming, right? Yeah. It's really impressive.
Because all the other astromech droids just get picked off here and there, but R2 just like, woo, baller, right? He's like Chopper, from Rebels, where they're just like, maybe it's the idea that maybe a robot they talked about Chopper, that he went through trauma in the war, and his circuits were broken. Maybe R2's the same way. Maybe. And that it's like a PTSD kind of thing. Yeah. That breaks their circuitry that allows them to adapt.
Yeah, that could be.
A survival adaptation.
Yeah. But it's really impressive.
Right? But yeah, I like Ewoks. I would love to see like a Ewok series. I've always said that I think it'd be amazing. Like if you have seen the new reboots of Planet of the Apes, the second one where they're hunting the deer, just imagine Ewoks hunting a space goat in the forest. I just think that could be amazing.
Well, and all their traps that they set up in that battle, right? All the things they used.
Yeah. That's what I want to see. I want to see like a serious like subtitle of the whole movie. Avant-garde. Ewoks running through the trees, shooting their arrows, throwing their spears.
There you go.
Very arty. Or the other option is you go completely R-rated and you make a Predator movie.
That's the first thing I said when you thought of Ewok, and I was like, so it's like Ewok Predator, right?
But Ewok is the Predator, and there's a rogue group of stormtroopers trapped on Endor, and they're getting picked off. They're getting picked off by this lone Ewok. Stormtroopers hanging by their toes, skinned.
That is horrible. Oh my goodness.
Little Ewok eating brain cereal out of a bucket head.
Things got dark. Wow. He looks a little maniacal right now.
See, that is why I think Ewoks could be completely more amazing than they've ever been portrayed after the movie, right? Because they just became like these cuddly little teddy bears.
They're so sad that when the one dies, though, and it's so sad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they do so much, and I understand why they help them. I mean, their homeworld's being attacked as well. So
get out of my backyard.
It's interesting to show, though, that if they had not stumbled upon and made friends with them, how they would have completely lost the battle. Yep, it was dependent on them being able to make friends, and so really, C-3PO is the one that saved everything.
There you go. He's the true hero.
He's the true goat.
So that's what we got to ask.
Granted, he wouldn't have saved anything if Luke had not forced him to.
What you got to ask yourself, though, is because there's a toy of 3PO from this final movie with Chewbacca's like bandolier and his Bowcaster.
I don't like the words you're saying.
Is 3PO going to save the entire galaxy?
I think he might.
See, what's going to happen is Chewbacca's going to die.
Now I need to look back at the prequels and look. Does he have some like turning point in the prequels?
I don't know.
To change things.
And then 3PO's going to pick up Chewie's bowcaster and be like, die! And it's going to turn into a Rambo movie, but with 3PO.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
I am fan speculating over all this because then
why not?
It'd be amazing. So here's my fan theory we talked about when I was watching it. I know this is just hilarious. This is not a truthful thing, but it would be hilarious. So this is how it went down. Imagine, if you will, that we find out that Palpatine is actually Anakin's father, and he is truly a Skywalker. Hence the Rise of Skywalker, because we know the Emperor is supposed to come back in Rise of Skywalker. So the idea that he comes back at the end.
Yeah.
To continue the cycle.
Rise of the wrong Skywalker. But no, okay.
Wouldn't that be
But in all honesty, Palpatine was talking about the fact that he had a teacher that was able to create life, you know, and everything like that. And he talks about it as if it's some like distant historical thing. But then you realize that it's not so historical for him. So everyone's like, oh, okay, well, that must be then where Anakin was created from, is that he was the manipulation of the life force and everything. But why couldn't Palpatine have been the one that actually does that? Yeah. So him actually manipulating it is then turned into like the father.
Yeah.
Idea,
so
right?
imagine that.
Oh, I know. I'm totally
because we talked about it. What if the original prequels is like an allegory for World War One? Then World War II is the original trilogy, and then when you look at how the new one is and how angry our world is and how we're all battling, because there's no
clear villain right now. We don't even know who's the actual bad guy.
That, but also even good guys. Like, it's all gray and muddied in this new trilogy, just like our world now.
Yeah, they're very reflective of that, quite honestly.
So just think of that could easily be, and just even like with.
Well, yeah, because so you think of World War I, and you think of how there was clear bad guys that were working in the shadows for things, and then just created this downfall of civilization, and then from that downfall created these bad guys gained power because of the downfall. Holy moly!
Right? It's like the Rick and Morty episode. Why is fascism the new norm?
That was in itself the best social commentary of something for so long.
Right?
Like, holy moly. So yes, no, it is very true. It's interesting with how, angry the world seems to be still right now about the new trilogy for Star Wars. Like, they, because of the fact that it is kind of moneyed, and it's confusing of who's the good guy and who's the bad guy and everything like that, because there was much more clarity in the original trilogy, right? But
it's a clear representation of our world.
Yeah, and it's a reflection of that, and we can't wrap our heads around it, but that's the world we live in now. We don't have those clear.
And that's what I was saying. Palpatine is a true Skywalker.
People shift sides and everything like that. Yeah.
So that's what's going to happen. In the movie, he's just going to come back.
I would laugh if you are correct. It would be hilarious. And you know what? Quite honestly, I'm not going to lie. It does not seem like it's completely improbable to have had that happen.
I'm sorry. If it does come true, I'm sorry. I totally,
at least
inexplicitly, maybe
the
may have ruined episode 9.
The wheels are in motion already, so you haven't sent the brainwaves out to someone yet. This was still in the
this happened this morning.
Yeah, so this was literally just now happened. Everything is set in stone. It is what it is now.
But that would just be the funny part. That would be great.
Because the idea that it's literally killing me. Of what does the Rise of Skywalker mean?
I'm assuming it's going to be like a Spartacus thing. I am Skywalker. No, I am Skywalker. I am Skywalker. We are all Skywalkers.
Well, I don't know if I'm okay with that.
So, but we'll find out. We've only got like a month, so we'll find out.
I know.
But Return of the Jedi. It is one of my favorite out of the 6 that we've watched. Of course, with the actual episode titles. I just think it's fun. I like it from beginning to end.
I cannot believe how quickly they remade the Death Star to make it fully to the.
Honestly, I think they probably actually had a second in.
They had to
in production
because it still does not make sense whatsoever.
Yeah, they must have. They probably did. They probably had.
We can't even build like an office building in the time frame that it just. An apartment complex takes longer than they were building this giant space station in the sky. I don't care how many workers you had. Sorry. Things suddenly popping into my head.
Suddenly, reality must work into my fiction.
Right?
My science fiction.
But I still love it.
Because that's what we're doing. We're talking about Star Wars.
Oh,
Star Wars. We're talking about Star Wars. Star Wars. We're talking about Star Wars. We just talked about Star Wars, and here is some more.
Star Wars, Mandalorian on Disney Plus.
Yeah, so we're going to do something about it.
We're going to talk about
a little bit about that scene. You should have seen that scene. That scene was badass.
That was
right?
so amazing.
When that happened, and he went,
pew,
pew,
like,
and it was like, oh no.
Mind blown. And that was all.
And wow. And then that showed up, and I was like, oh, dude. And then there was more pew, pew. And then there was mud, and I was like, what? 2 episodes down, that's what we saw. What'd you see?
Oh, wow.
No, so what are you thinking right now? Disney Plus, Mandalorian, it is their like gold standard for their streaming service that just dropped.
Well, yeah, because it pops up there as soon as you open the app there. I'm super happy with it. Honestly, like so far that will have even made it worth it. I'm happy. It's a really good series. I'm happy with how well it was. Like the last episode we watched, episode 2, just flew by.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe how fast it went
by way too fast.
And so well done. And I like the music even was nice to be in it. It reminded me of a little movie. It's movie quality. It is not, doesn't feel like a TV show.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that's blown my mind for it is it's like, what are you talking about? This isn't a TV show. Like, and, I'm very interested to find out the storyline. Like it's killing me. Like Fridays are going to be fantastic. Even more
Mando Fridays.
Mandalorian Fridays.
Well, you know, as much as it sucks that we can't binge watch the entirety of it, I kind of like that they're not dropping it.
Yeah, I like the suspense.
Because we weren't able to watch it for a few days because we had things going on, and then the service wasn't working properly right now because
we
it's
are
so
all
busy.
stuck in the suspense together.
Right, yeah. So it's been a long time since people have had to do that.
Yeah, and I like it.
So, and I like that because it is like old TV, right?
Right.
Like, you know.
Well, and it's because by now we know that there was a lot of people that would have already been done with the series.
Oh yeah, there's been people done with the series on day one,
right? And it would have been super hard to stay away from spoilers. So it's really great that I watched it maybe 2 days later. I just got to stay away from these social media channels and we'll be good. But it's only one episode that I might be a little late on, you know. And I like that. Like that there's and it gives me that sense of having to suspend the waiting because back to Empire and training for Jedi, we're talking about patience.
Remember when you had to wait 2 to 3 years before a movie?
Right? And it's like, if we can't even handle a week waiting for a TV show, there's a sign there. Yeah. We're heading into dark times.
There was something that happened in where I actually had to tell you to shh because I couldn't hear it because you were squealing with such excitement.
Because there's a certain thing that is adorable in it. It's so adorable.
And it's already, you may have seen photos of it.
And I'm not going to, just in case, I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah.
But if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. And I cannot get over how adorable it is.
Right.
Like every single time Super Mom comes out and it's just like, oh my God, so cute.
Just want to squish your little face.
Yeah. That's where I stand with it.
And now we know that's the true reason why Katie's watching it.
Squishy. I need to find out what's going on with the little squishy thing. And it's killing me because it's, oh my God, it's just so cute. It's overwhelming.
Want those, don't you?
It's overwhelming. I would have a doll of it if I could. Yeah. like young Katie is just like, would have totally had that as a doll.
No, now Katie would totally have that as a doll.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I wish it would come out before Christmas because that'd be the perfect Christmas gift.
It would. I would totally have one of those. Yep.
But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I think it's really great. It's put together really well, and it's a fantastic show. So if you have any reservations of it,
please go watch it.
Yeah, it's great. They've already announced season 2 is coming. They're going to be shorter seasons, I think.
And I like that.
8 episodes.
You know what? This makes me very, very excited for the Obi-Wan. I want to see more from this type of world, right?
Hello there. I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi, and these are my adventures.
I hope this has been early enough for you to put that brainwave out into the universe and have them start that. So, yeah.
Well, even the Marvel stuff, if this is going to show any quality for that, it's just going to be fantastic. So I'm excited about watching some more Disney Plus over the next week because not only are we going to be doing our Frozen 2 episode next week.
Yes.
We are also going to be maybe talking about some of the stuff we've watched on Disney Plus.
That makes sense for sure.
Not just bonkers.
It's just going to be a Disney-based thing, right? I am very excited for next weekend, Frozen 2. So see how that goes.
Yeah. So this week we talked about Star Wars. Let us know what you think. Let us know what your favorite is, what your favorite character is.
Do you realize that C-3PO is the hero? Have you ever realized this? I found something new. I'm like mind blown right now.
Right?
Oh. Anyway,
and if you're enjoying Disney Plus, tell us what you're watching.
Yeah.
And you know what? We'll talk to you next week. Stay rad.
Thanks for joining us and have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening. Want more rad content? Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And don't forget to subscribe, rate us, and leave us a review.
And remember, be excellent to each other and party on, dudes!